we wait for a verdict here at the Trump trial, a new poll shows it may not have much impact on how Americans actually vote come this fall. 2/3 of registered voters say it makes no difference if the presumptive GOP nominee is found guilty in this case. As President Biden's former press secretary Jen Psaki sounds the alarm over the state of his campaign.
They know they need to make up ground here. All is not lost. It might be okay. We have some time to go here. Everything they're doing out there right now is about gearing up for the debate. It's less about the trial that we're all watching, of course.
Okay, so calm for now, right? Just to
I mean, don't be too calm.
Okay, let's bring in Kellyanne Conway, former senior counselor to President Trump. Now she is president of KAC Consulting and a Fox News contributor. Marc Thiessen, former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, now an American Enterprise Institute senior fellow, Washington Post columnist and Fox News contributor. And Kevin Walling, former Biden 2020 campaign surrogate, now partner at HG Creative. Okay. We have fancy titles for you because you bring a wealth of knowledge, all of you, to this conversation. So let's start with this interesting new polling we have here. This is from NPR PBS NewsHour Marist, a poll that says President Trump holds a big lead with independents, has him at 54%, President Biden at 42%. Kellyanne, is it really going to come down to these independents? Because it seems like the really hardcore base on either side, they're locked in with where they're going.
For me, yes. That's the highest lead that Donald Trump has had among independents since Marist has been asking the question about these two. And I think it's significant, Shannon, because why does someone call himself or herself an independent? They're not moderates. Independents are naturally suspicious of government and of our institutions, for better or for worse. They don't like the two parties. They don't like those who have been in Washington for over 50 years, like Joe Biden. And I think Donald Trump is presenting himself as quasi-incumbent and mostly insurgent, still an outsider to the system like the rest of us. The other thing that struck me in the Marist poll is that Trump is only behind by 11 points among non-white voters. That would suggest that even this 11th hour push of Joe Biden to reclaim, quote, black voters in Philadelphia yesterday isn't working. You've got Joe Biden. He served as vice president to the first black president. He has a black woman as his vice president. And yet he feels he has to go to Philadelphia and announce a, quote, black voter initiative. Whatever happens in this case, because we released a poll today, too, showing in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, similar results to Marist. About 2/3 are dug in, won't affect their vote either way if he's not guilty or if he's acquitted. But about 22% in those states, particularly young men, people of color, and urban voters, say they'd be more likely to vote for Donald Trump. About 20%. Doesn't seem high, but it's huge in contests that are won or lost by just a handful of thousands of votes across a few swing states. So Biden's got some work to do, I think, among these core constituencies. Last point, the one thing that won't change, regardless of the verdict in New York, is Biden's strategy. And that's really the problem here. It's all Trump, 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 Trump. Biden's not out there touting his agenda and his accomplishments. It's all Trump all the time.
Well, and Mark, to that point, we have people close to the Biden campaign who say they're frustrated because they feel like the White House is not taking their advice, and they do think it's time for the campaign to have a pivot. But with all of that in mind, the chief political analyst over the New York Times says this is very much still a campaign that President Biden can win, saying this: Biden's 2-point deficit in the key states makes this election closer than those heading into Election Day 2020, 2016, 2012, and 2008. If the election were held tomorrow, it wouldn't be especially surprising if Mr. Biden won by narrowly sweeping Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So we know polls are going to tighten. Mark, how should we temper and digest all of these numbers?
Well, so first of all, Donald Trump is leading in all of the swing states, so you have to take into account, I mean, he never had that kind of a lead before in previous polling, so that's significant. He's favored to win, but he's only outside the margin of error in 3 of the swing states, and that gets him to 268, not 270. So it'll be fought out in the other three swing states, and those are all basically statistically tied, and it's going to get tighter as the election comes. So, you know, I don't think this case is going to have much of an impact on him because, look, first of all, Trump is not a new challenger that the Democrats can define for the American people. He's pretty well already defined himself. People either love him or they hate him, and they have strong opinions about him, and this conviction or acquittal is not going to make much of a difference in that. But the reasons they dislike both Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but the reasons they dislike Joe Biden have much more of an impact on their daily lives. If the world was at peace, inflation was low, crime was low, the border was under control, they'd have the luxury of voting on this court case. But inflation's out of control. They're paying $125 for a $100 basket of groceries. We just had credit card debt reach over $1 trillion for the first time in history because people are racking up their credit card debt in order to keep up with Biden's inflation. So they don't have a luxury of voting on this court case, on what happened a decade ago with a hush money payment. They're voting about what's happening to their pocketbooks right now. They're voting about their credit card debt. And all those issues tend to favor Donald Trump, which is why he's leading narrowly.
Yeah, and Kevin, you and I have talked about these issues. We know that people have that daily reality check for themselves on how they're doing with paying all of those bills and filling up a car and paying rent and all of those things. So a lot of uphill climbing for the White House to do and overcoming some of those perceptions, and the polling that consistently says, even though the White House says we don't feel like we're getting credit for some green shoots in the economy and things they say are happening, listen, voters at home are not getting it. They're not feeling it. And now we have the president now walking into this first federal trial for Hunter Biden. That certainly is going to be in the headlines and is going to be impacting potentially conversations he has to have. Wall Street Journal editorial board says Mr. Biden is better advised to say nothing about this trial, what happens here with President Trump, because Mr. Biden's son Hunter is slated to go on trial on felony charges in early June. Will he comment on that proceeding too? The issue here is presidential decorum and political judgment. Kevin, you've seen these columns that they're having conversations about how President Biden would message this if President Trump is convicted. But knowing if he's going around calling people convicted felons, I mean, Hunter could soon face that same fate, possibly too.
Well, it's certainly, Shannon, an interesting dichotomy with those two cases playing out. I'll note in that Marist poll that we just talked about at the outset, President Biden's actually leading the former president by 2 points in that poll. I agree with Marc and Kellyanne that this trial really isn't going to make a difference. We see it in the polling throughout. It may make a difference, though, with independent voters. We saw in a poll last week from Quinnipiac that 23% of independent voters would be less likely to support the former president if he's convicted, compared to 11% that might support him, that are more likely to support him if he's convicted. Those will make the difference in the margins. The other thing that will make the difference in the margins, Shannon, and you're right, folks are already locked in with their perceptions of President Biden and former President Trump. That's why the ground game is so important. That's why you see the campaign touting 500 district offices in all the battleground states, thousands of field staff on the ground. I don't know if you have any field offices yet open by the RNC and the Trump campaign. That's going to make a difference 5 months out. It's going to be getting those folks to the polls that have already made up their minds years ago about these two guys, but making sure we have that turnout operation. And that's what the Biden campaign is built.
Yeah, these two parties have got to be serious about that turnout day and night, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year going into the fall. Kevin, Kellyanne, Marc, thank you all very much. Good to see you guys.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.